Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more Against the Storm. I did play a map in between the last video, got a little bit further out over here, and I've unlocked 2 additional modifiers for this next map, so this one's going to be kind of exciting for us. Also increase the range and vision of my cities, so now I don't have to have that nasty overlap, which was reducing my foodstuff rewards a little bit. Now we can get a little bit more out of this arrangement. I think we'll pick this one up over here. So we're going to have the Levitating Monument, which makes it basically free to move buildings in my settlement, I think. Or at least unlocks more movement than I had previously. Also a ruin settlement, so there are a lot of ruin buildings nearby. That's very convenient if I want to relocate them back into the main base, am I right? So this has the potential to be worth an absolute ton of rewards for us. As far as what kind of modifiers we'll have to work with, this is going to be the Royal Woodlands, which means we get a lot of extra wood. So going for beavers feels like a no-brainer to me. This is going to be pretty darn solid for us. We also have access to some clay, okay, but no stone. I do see some meat and insects. I see roots, which actually is a method of getting flour. I keep forgetting this and think it's always grain, but no. Roots can work too. Sea marrow, of course, means extra fuel. No coal, no copper. So if we want to make our own tools, I'm going to have to rely on crystallized dew or rewards. If we can get a kiln going for copper, that'd be a very good use for my excess wood, but not necessary in order to fuel the fire. So we'll be okay without that. All right, we are going to have lizards and beavers. That means that starting with some extra meat and stuff to turn into jerky isn't a bad idea. Starting with some roots and stuff to turn into flour wouldn't be a bad idea. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and pick up some stone to start since I don't have access to that anywhere else. And beyond that, let's go for the roots and let's say some vegetables, just so I have some extra food sitting around. I think that'll be fine. All right, off we go. Let's see what we're going to have this time around. So this should be a relatively calm scenario, I think. I mean, 2 positive modifiers in our favor should be nice, but we'll see. Warm welcome. Increased reputation gained from resolve by 100%. For during the drizzle. Okay, well, if we make people very, very happy, we're going to be getting a lot of reputation. I like that. Muddy ground is not so bad. It just means people are slow off of roads. Villagers get resolve penalties. That's going to be unfortunate because that activates at hostility 1, so that's going to happen very early on. Blight rot contaminating everything we send. During the storm, the impatience goes up for every blight rot cyst. If we're going to get to hostility 4, we need to make sure we are burning down those cysts, or this is going to hurt and stack up. Eerie song, hopefully we never get to this point, but there's a chance that people are going to die every 15 seconds. Got it. All right, we're going to go for our standard lineup. That is to say, we need some roads, we need some camps. Let's get ourselves a woodcutter camp over, let's see, I see some dangerous glades over here, small ones. Let's set up first over this direction and one over this direction. There we go. And we'll also go for food. Let's see, we have some roots and we have flax fields for a little bit of extra early plant fiber. For now, just a scavenger's camp should be fine for me. We'll go ahead and do that, and bada boom. Okay, so we've got our woodcutters out and about. I've got quite a few people, surprisingly. I actually can do quite a lot of gathering here. Starting off with 2 extra people is pretty nice. Hostility level goes up already, simply by virtue of having 6 woodcutters, but we can drop that down later if we need to. Let's focus on getting some basics. You almost always need to have a crude workstation at some point, just to get some of the early building blocks. That seems to be an absolute necessity. Even the better buildings like the lumber mill and stuff require some. So, yeah, got to get this sucker up and running. Cornerstone, what do we get? Export specialization, pretty good if we are going to be making a lot of those. I often don't make lots of packs of goods, even if I'm going for a trade build, but having the extra value can be pretty darn nice. It gives you like a 50% production boost. Burnt to a crisp for blight rot cysts could be relevant for us. And then lizard resolve goes up every time we are making a lot of training gear. None of these enable me a lot at the beginning of the game. I'm actually going to do a reroll here. This isn't bad, but like, I'm looking for something that gives me a sense of what seam I'm pulling on to win this particular run. Going for some plant fiber every minute is helpful to a degree. It does make it a little bit easier for me to kind of ignore plant fiber and just make lots and lots of fabric. Leather production. You know, gain additional yield from gathering, farming, production. Meat was on this map. There's a very good chance that leather is going to be around pretty often, so this isn't bad. And then firekeepers can burn additional corruption down. I guess I'll go with the obvious and easy plant fiber. I mean, I have access to plant fiber, so that's not absolutely necessary, but it does mean I can start making a load of cloth. So if I get a weaver or something early on, right, and I can start making very efficient fabric, I'll be able to create a load of value. That said, what do we got here? So I like the idea of a smithy to a degree. The leatherworker's okay, but I'm willing to bet we're going to get a better option for fabric. I'll take a smithy. Then we have the provisioner. Okay, at least being able to make flowers, nice. Bale of provisions. I kind of value this more than the rain mill in this case, I think. Trapper's Camp, we know that meat is on the map. I do need to get my food taken care of, so we'll pick that one up. It would be nice to be able to get some form of a farm. So a plantation or an herb garden, since we don't have humans. But I think I am going to take the weavers, since we were just talking about this. This is going to take my pretty darn good plant fiber production, and I'm just going to be able to start converting it into stuff I can sell or turn into better stuff. All right, Queen's Envoy. House people, get more people. All right, not bad. Cut into glades, get more perks. I kind of like this. Generally speaking, I prefer perks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up. Get a bunch of basic stuff, get a bunch of basic stuff. I mean, it's nice to have the extra parts, and this one's easily fulfilled. So let's go ahead and pick that one up. And then, okay, we're going to have crops no matter what. I can become better at making crops, and I can be better at farming. So if I'm going to get a farm at some point, this ends up being the better choice. If we don't ever get any farms, well, then this was a horrible blunder on my part, but we'll see. So what do we want here? Let's go ahead and set these down to like 6 each. I tend to just make sure that we don't accidentally overuse some of these things. I don't have any clay yet, which does concern me just a smidge. So I'll use some of my stone to make bricks, at least for the beginning section of the game. Let's have one person working over there for the moment, and the other person I'm going to keep at work and just place down like some roads in a few places and stuff. I mean, if we're not actively building anything, we don't need to have a builder. But if we've got one sitting around, let's go ahead and do that. I actually think that the planks are probably the higher priority right now. If we can get some of those planks up and running, then I can set down something like a big house. And that's going to fulfill a good chunk of housing needs for a little while. But right now, I mean, we're still in the drizzle stage. We've already got all this set up. We can afford to wait just a little bit. Now, one thing I'm noticing about my playing with this game is I do tend to go a little bit slower than I think I want to. The other factions in the game are beating me horribly on score, and I think part of that is, by default, the AI seems to be able to win their games within 6 turns. So that gives them like an extra 3 or 4 turns, depending on how long I take, 3 or 4 years, to just farm out extra score, and then when I come out, they're looking way better than I am. So I'm getting murdered on score, and I think it's just because I take too long. But I'm also not totally sure how much faster I can go than what I'm already doing, if I'm completely honest. It feels like I'm doing as fast as I can, but I must be wrong, so I don't know. I'm trying to watch for areas where I can start speeding things up. Could be right, could be wrong, I don't know. We go down to hostility 0 for some reason, not too sure what we did to make that happen, but alrighty. First round of housing going up, that's going to help just kind of shore up my resolve needs going into this first storm, and pretty much guarantee I'm not going to have any issues, especially at hostility level 0. Like, who's worried? That's going to be fine. Now, how are we doing on some of our basic resources? Food is going down. We are eating more than we are producing right now. Fuel's looking great, but that's mainly because we are very good at producing wood. I'm actually going to turn off the consumption of coal temporarily here, because there are some chances you run into small events in glades that only take like 16 coal or something. Actually, that may not be true. Maybe it's always 25. If that's the case, there's no point in stopping, but that may be something I want to start doing at the beginning of every map, is just turn off the coal consumption, and maybe it becomes a get-out-of-jail-free card if I cut into a forbidden glade and find out there's something I need to do. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All right, we got our housing need taken care of right now. Kind of unnecessary with the big houses, but they're fairly cheap, honestly. 4 planks is not that bad, and it gets you 6 people each. So it just solves all of your housing issues for 8 planks, whereas 1 beaver house only gets 2 beavers housed, and it costs 8 as well. So I figure this is a fairly cheap and efficient opening move, at least for now. All right, the first storm is coming to an end very soon. We're going to get our next cornerstone. Hopefully it tells me what I'm going to be able to do effectively. We also get some newcomers. Actually, before I do that, let's just see. Maybe there's going to be an order or something where I need more. Deserted caravans. Gold production is up, but trading is unavailable. I don't ever like picking that up. Trade can be a very helpful thing. I don't really like Blight Extractor. I can see where this could be really good. Like, if you know how to manage your Blight, then this can get you extra amber per minute and stuff if you're willing to accept some of the hostility. But it has to be a fully infected building. And there is a way, I think, to manually designate what buildings are allowed to be burned away and which ones are not. So this is a way of generating some money, and it can actually be a lot of money. But I'm not sure if it's what I want. I'm going to go for the Rebellious Spirit. Feels like a pretty easy way to just kind of, you know, if I'm taking too long and impatience is going up, make sure that I don't lose the game too aggressively. Ideally, you don't need Rebellious Spirit. If you're playing it really well, hopefully you don't, but it doesn't always work out that way. Dare I crack into one of these glades right now? I think the answer is yeah. I'd rather take a risk a little bit early, I guess, and just sort of see what we're going to have to work toward. I don't think the amber is going to be relevant here. A couple of fabric actually just help prevent me from having to waste many resources on some stuff. We do want to get this weaver up and running. For that, I need a little bit more planks. We also want to get that smithy, but that's not a high priority. So let's start by setting up the weaver like that right there, and let's make sure we are producing just a little bit more planks. I would love to get a building that enables better plank production. I just find that the best order of things you need to worry about as far as getting some buildings, I mean, one, any sort of a farm is really nice, because otherwise this unlimited resource node in the fertile soil is going to waste. So that's no good, right? But beyond that, you want to go for building blocks, so anything that helps boost up at the very beginning your bricks, your fabric, your plank production is pretty darn helpful. Then you want to make sure you have buildings that enable all the food you're going to need to survive. Then you want to worry about complex food, because that can be very, very helpful for you as far as getting extra resolve and making your food go a lot further. Then you want to worry about getting things like leisure. That's all pretty helpful. Living matter. This is easy for me to deal with because it doesn't cost me any resources. It does burn away a lot of my food. But we get some crystallized dew and we get some amber. So let's go ahead and investigate that right away. What else do we get? A lot of fertile soil, some clay, thank you, roots, and flax. Okay. Well, the important thing is finding that clay, because now I'm going to have a way of producing bricks more consistently. So let's go ahead and get this thing set up. 2 new orders. We could hold off on getting orders, to be honest, but meh. So I think that getting jerky needs fulfilled is actually going to be doable, and being even better at production could be nice. We need to get a building that enables this, but with both lizards and harpies, jerky is pretty valuable, and I know that meat exists on this map. So do insects. So this feels like a pretty easy pickup, and it will be useful to me. Having enough harpies that are happy gets me some skewers plus an alchemist hut. Getting a free building is nice. Produce crystallized dew cosmetics wine. That's not bad. I like getting free blueprints. It's pretty helpful. Get oil and flour. Great if you have like a press or something. Farmers carry more. I do like being able to get wildfire essence. It's like impossible to get otherwise, but this feels more useful to me. So we're going to go for a harpy population. Gosh, the living matter really does obliterate your food stores, though, for real. It's basically, if you get this event, it's easy to deal with, it doesn't cost you resources, except it costs you like 100-something food. It really is actually one of the worst ones, but it's one you can do early because you don't need to have things like tools. It's worth noting we already have 65 plant fiber because every minute I'm getting 3. Like, we're never going to have plant fiber issues for pretty much the entire game. And 2 plant fibers worth 0.28 amber becomes 0.31. Multiply that times 2, so 0.62. Yeah, this is a huge wealth increase for us. It's definitely worth doing this. Wow, that is some pretty nasty resolve this early in the game. Hello. All right. Let me pull back a little bit on a builder and just get this down to 0 hostility, very temporarily. I'm not even losing a lot of wood production, but I don't want to deal with that terrible resolve. No, thank you. That's awful. And we'll go ahead and put them back right about now. Should be fine. Bada boom. Okay, everything's fine. One great thing also about producing lots and lots of fabric is we can set up tons of harpy houses, and we'll be able to afford that very easily. We like that. Okay, we can turn in our first order already, but meh. So, more plant fiber. This feels completely unnecessary. We could stack this up and get 6 per minute, but it's not worth a lot for selling, and I definitely can't make cloth fast enough to justify it. Export specialization, I don't think so. And then have leisure needs fulfilled. This is a late game perk. I think no. Let's do another reroll. Storm walking, trade routes, no. Receive packs of provisions for every new villager. This basically means I'm never going to need to make my own provisions, I'm hoping. Since I'm not going for an extreme... I'm not going for an extreme trade build. We shouldn't need to produce tons and tons of provisions. Then, of course, there's this. Every open cache reduces hostility by 15 points. Good if you have tools. We have a smithy, so if I can possibly start making my own tools, this actually can be very nice as far as keeping hostility low. But I think I'm just going to go for peasant supplies. It basically means that I don't need to worry about ever getting provisions. And I think that's kind of valuable, at least to a degree. Let's go ahead and pick this up, get some more parts, just mostly get some reputation. And then as far as some additional people, now we're going to get some provisions, which is why you always get your cornerstone before you welcome your newcomers. We can go for... bleh. I guess the beavers are probably more valuable to me. 4 people? Sure, we can do that too. Getting something that makes jerky would be nice. Lumber mill. We don't need a carpenter because I can already make the simple tools. Bricks. This is actually pretty nice, but we already... Did I not? No, we don't have the way to make crystallized dew, but we're going to with the alchemist hut from the Harpy mission. And then the clothier. Very good way of using my fabric to produce something. But I feel like the lumber mill is probably the better way to go because I could really benefit from a better method of making lots of planks very effectively. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing set up next. I think I'm going to take a risk and crack into another glade. We don't have anything great here. One thing I could potentially do is set up a trading post. And that would mean that a trader is basically guaranteed to come right now. And there's something to be said about that because a trader might bring along the materials I need to resolve this glade, but it's early enough during the drizzle I feel fairly confident about doing that, so let's go ahead and make that work. And then let's also assign like a beaver over here and just start making a whole bunch of planks. 3 into 2, very, very good trade for me. Very good building blocks, we like that a lot. Also, let's just continue getting things like some harpy houses and stuff, make some people a bit happier. Okay, so case in point, the trader has arrived. We're very close to cracking this open. What do we find? A Harmony Spirit Altar. Do I have any of the things I need? Yes, actually. There's the coal. Hey, look, I was right. You can actually save your coal and it would work. We also could use resin, though, and I've got plenty of that as a byproduct, so that's the easy one for us. Convert this. Each unique service building adds 2 to resolve. So this is great if you plan on going for a lot of services, which is kind of a later game thing, but it's really good. We can also move this and get some harmony decoration in our town, which is good because I did actually upgrade the final version of a hub, but it requires a service building plus some harmony decorations and a lot of the normal stuff. So the question is, do I want to go for the easy upfront benefit of some sea marrow for fuel, fabric, and incense? I don't have a use for incense. I don't need the sea marrow, though it is nice. The fabric is okay, but I can also produce this very well. I think I'd rather go for the long-term play and actually convert this, and at some point, this is going to make getting a resolve victory a lot easier. So let's assign a couple of people over here. We'll use up some resin, and let's get this dealt with. Should only take a few minutes. We also discovered a tool shop, which produces simple tools at a very, very good rate. Okay. Alternatively, salvage it, get some tools, and we can crack into another glade. Tempting. In addition, I see that we have some other perks here. So I have a fair bit of amber from some missions I completed. We could buy a farm blueprint, and then I don't have to worry about it, which is pretty good. Pottery production wouldn't be bad if I had gotten a method of getting pottery, but we do have clay, so that's pretty strong. I'm tempted to say we should pick up one of the farms, either the herb garden or the small farm. Probably the small farm just for the grain, though the herbs are pretty nice. We could turn the roots into flour, but the grain's really efficient, too. Yeah, I think I'll just take the small farm. Let's just buy it so I don't ever have to worry about that again. We've had too many bad experiences, yes? I think so. As far as some trade routes, we could sell crystallized dew, but I don't think that's worth it. Blah, blah, blah. Anything here? No. Just looking for ways of getting some more amber. We could sell some stuff and try to get the pottery production, but I think I can live without it for the time being. I'm pretty low on food, so if I'm going to do anything, I'd like to just buy some really cheap and efficient food. Preferably one that also gets me some resolve, and considering things like roots cost the same as a processed food like skewers, it's always better to go for the processed food, my opinion. We could go for jerky. It's cheap, and it will make people very, very happy. Yeah, that's good enough. I'll just use my 5 amber to buy that at a perfect ratio. Let's not forget that fulfilling the need of jerky for 10 people also fulfills one of my orders. So that's not even a bad idea. It gets me some early reputation. Now, you could argue, probably, that it's not worth turning some of these in unless you have to, because I'm pretty sure that the expectation and requirements of your people goes up the more reputation you have. So not turning an order in technically is not the worst thing in the world, but I kind of just like having the extra reputation to know what my extra blueprints are going to be so I know how to build out my economy a little bit further. It's just kind of a risk and reward thing. The more you hold out, the more benefits you might get, but we'll see. Hey, by the way, if I run out of jerky yet, I'm just making sure we have enough jerky to actually fulfill all of these needs. We're up to 7. We should be able to get up to the 10 we're needing, and then hold on to that for a few minutes. Also, we're getting a little bit of extra resolve right now, just a tiny little bit from making the harpies happy. Not bad. Last couple orders. Well, not last, but 2 more orders. What do we get here? Fulfill religious needs. Become very good at producing grain. Also, get global resolve. Not bad. What's this one? Complete forbidden or dangerous glade events. Do that. Get an artisan. Wow, more blueprints. And that one actually isn't too bad for us with the coats. I kind of like it. What do we get here? Gain a villager every time you discover a glade. These are both very solid rewards. Religion guarantees that I need to get some specific leisure building or service. It's not bad. The herbs are good. This is good. This is all really solid. But I have to be able to produce incense, which I can't do right now. And this I definitely will do, but requires I crack into 3 more glades. And to be honest, the less glades I crack into, generally speaking, the better. I don't need the villagers per glade. It is nice in the early game, but in the late game I find it to be more of a hindrance than anything. The artisan's nice, but I think we already produce coats. So, you know, no, the religion's the better pick. I think that's the one we want to go with. Ale, pickled goods, barrels, and a cellar to make wine. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll pick that one up. Maybe we do that. Maybe we don't. Basically, it's not produce ale, it's fulfill leisure. That just kind of means we have to get 2 different types of leisure buildings. A monastery, I think, would fulfill both religion and leisure. I could be wrong on that, but I think it does. So that's ideally the building we're gonna find. We may or may not get lucky, though. We're doing really well right now. Both the harpies and the lizards are getting me a little bit of free reputation. It's only 0.14 per minute, but I'll take every little bit that I can get. This is going to stack up really well if I do end up having to get 2 service buildings, isn't it? Yeah, if we don't end up getting a monastery and we have to get 2 separate things, this is just solid. And yeah, I can move this. You can see right here. And just move it straight over here, and it'll look really, really cool. I don't know. We don't need to do it, but for the heck of it. For the heck of it, we'll just move it here. And we can always move it again later. Let's go ahead and set up a small farm. Right over here should be more than sufficient. That's going to be a really good range. 2 people probably can't even work that many, if I'm honest. We'll set up something like this. We're not going to get any value out of it this year, but we can at least go ahead and just get this built out. But that's going to be an endless source of some food. What I do need is a way of turning that grain into some flour. So temporarily, I'm going to say that vegetables are the only thing we want to grow, only because these are the ones that I can eat regardless. And maybe at some point I turn that into pickled vegetables instead. But if we find a way to enable flour production, unless we've already done so and I'm just an idiot and forgetting, which does happen, you know, on occasion, we're good. Then we will be able to get a lot of refined food. And this may end up turning into more of a resolve build than anything else. I should note, by the way, unfortunately, people's need for jerky actually expired before the timer ran out for meat treats. So we did not fulfill this. Yeah, that wasn't worth it at all, it turns out. We need to start producing our own, or I needed way more than 20. Well, we can at least assign a few lizards to go ahead and start getting us some meat, which will be very nice. Plus, we'll start getting some leather, which we could use for other things like fabric or eventually water skins, actually, if we want to get the tool shop set up, and I do want to do that. Let's start with the cornerstone. What do we get? Bonus, but consumption control is disabled. Maybe. Gain tools, but resolve goes down for woodcutters. Ooh. This is good. I'm going to pick it up. Yes, our beavers are going to be unhappy out of the arrangement, but gaining tools means I can deal with a lot of events, and maybe we can get some really cool rewards out of it. Heck, it'd be really nice to go into this Forbidden Glade, but a lot of treasure resides in there. I don't know, we'll see. What do we get over here? Some extra coal, plus some guys here, some grain, some coats. I guess I'll pick you up, you're fine, but not outstanding. I do need some more housing. We'll take care of that in a little bit. I've got my ancient hearth. I've got enough people as well. Pretty much once you get up to about 18 or so, maybe I think it's 22 for the last upgrade, that's when you should always be looking to getting another hearth set up. Reduce that hostility, give yourself some breathing space, that kind of thing. Let's just check, are there any trade routes that I'd like to do? We could sell off some herbs. I have just enough to pull that off. Don't want to sell off any tools. Could sell some copper bars. Not sure where I got those. Must have been from a quest reward at some point. No, nothing to sell. Gosh dang. All right, no real meaningful amount of amber here. But I kind of wish I had picked up the perk that was going to reduce the hostility of the forest every time we opened up crates. Because now I can gain hostility by opening up glades, gain some free tools, and then use those to help burn down a little bit of that hostility, kind of at a discount basically, and open up some of these caches, which would be pretty good. Let's turn in this order. The Queen's Impatience is a little high, plus, you know, the glade rewards things nice, and we get a little bit of extra goodies. What do I get for reputation? The ranch is okay. Herbalist camp? Yeah, I think that that's a thing, but we did say we wanted to unlock flour. This is going to enable me to start working toward refined food, and I think that's gonna be a winner for us. So let's get this thing set up so we can start turning our flour into something. Also, speaking of flour, I completely forgot to do this. Right, I think we still start by farming out vegetables just for the immediate food benefit. But once we have something to do with the flour that I'm going to be producing at a very efficient rate, we'll start growing some grain as well. Capped out on some of our fabric production, so we can stop doing anything there, at least for a moment. I'd like to start producing my own tools, so let's go ahead and build up the smithy. This is a 3-size building, so it takes a bit more space than I've otherwise got at the moment. Hang on, I'll just move a couple things around, do something like this. There we go. Tools are just a way of winning the game, straight out. If it takes a while, it's a risk. You have to crack into so many glades that you get a load of hostility out of the arrangement, but just being able to farm out a lot of reputation or resources can be such a huge enabler. It's really, like, you can't go wrong with that. All right, let's go ahead and start doing that. I will be using planks instead, since we're really good at making those. We could actually make some coats as well. Don't need to worry about the trade goods. Let's start with tools, and then we might also turn on coat production. It's pretty good. I'm going to start working toward cutting into this dangerous forbidden glade here. Very great amounts of treasure. Also usually some of the worst possible events. But because I am farming out tools by cracking into glades, I feel like we're in a better position to deal with this. And if I can make my own tools, even better. One more order comes through. What do we get? The tavern. See, this is something I'm happy to do anyway. Or a guild house. Get wine. The guild house, I don't remember what it requires. I think it might be wine. Gain beaver resolve for every wine produced. Didn't we have, like, the cellar to get unlocked at some point? We could stack up the wine and the jerky production here, which is tempting. I kind of wish I had a method of getting, like, berries and stuff to make better wine, but now I'm kind of looking at this and wondering. Alternatively, leisure is something I already need. It just locks me into requiring I get a specific thing. But then we could start producing ale using my roots or grain, and we could become really good at it. I like the rewards of this one a lot better. I just don't know if we have a great way of enabling this, and the tavern kind of already works for what I need. We're going to try for the tavern. It may or may not work, though. But we need, like, leisure fulfilled, so I already want to produce ale. Maybe we pull it off, maybe we don't. I feel like these leisure ones, there's just so much luck involved. How many times have we played this and we find that we just don't get the one building we need? I don't like strategies that require one specific random thing to happen, you know? It feels like a bad plan. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and favor the harpies for a little bit. Just get their resolve up, because they were really close to getting me some extra resolve. And the other ones can tank it for a little bit. I feel like if you're ever in a position where one species can get you some free reputation and the others are going to be fine, at least until the storm hits, why not just go ahead and favor them? Now I'll end the favoring, right? And if we need to, something I can do when the lizards get really low is I can temporarily favor them, and these guys hopefully can tank the hit for a little bit and prevent anyone from leaving. So juggling these is a new thing I'm kind of learning to mess with, and it seems like a pretty powerful tool. In this case, though, doesn't even matter. Lizards, you know, one great thing about them is their resolve drops very slowly, so we actually were able to tank that entirely. No problem whatsoever. Another cornerstone. Get extra urban root production for biscuits. Well, I don't have that. Resources you sacrifice burn longer for every impatience point? That's an interesting way of dealing with the hostility during the storms. It means that we're much more cost-effective at keeping hostility low. Yeah, that's okay. Also, then just burn down cysts, remove corruption. I don't really feel like I need this. The corruption's never all that bad, right? Pretty sure? Let's pick up Fiery Wrath. I don't know. It could be helpful in a pinch. It's kind of a minor get-out-of-jail-free card, especially when the queen is this impatient with me. We are unfortunately now out of copper bars and crystallized dew, so we're not going to be able to get much more simple tools than what I've got. But I've already jumped up to 33, which is so solid. And that's before I even bothered getting a tool shop to make them even more efficiently. So, like, yeah, we've got plenty of tools now. That's fantastic. Hey, let's go ahead and favor the harpies again, since the others can tank it, and we'll start generating a small amount of reputation. Please crack into this glade. I'm going to hold down shift and just direct a couple of specific trees. I want to find out what's in here, especially during a drizzle where it's a little bit easier to tank it. Okay, big glade. What do we get? Whoa, drainage mole. You look big and scary. Okay, I don't like that. Feed it or whack it with tools. Well, the answer is obvious. Whack it with tools. What do we get? Ale per minute. Wow. Also, some extra artifacts and food stockpiles, which just helps me with the Smoldering City. This seems good. We're going to get a load of hostility out of this. Also, woodcutters and gatherers are going to get a massive penalty, which is obviously sucky, but we're going to go with it anyway. Let's go ahead and deal with this. We're going to have to pull back on our woodcutting and gathering a little bit. We did unlock a scribe, a bathhouse, a warehouse, and a lizard house, and another tool shop. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, well, free leisure buildings like a bathhouse is not bad. It's not what I needed in order to complete my needs here, but it's certainly nice to have regardless. And then the scribe can produce scrolls and ale. So we've enabled ale production. Yeah, all I need is a tavern and we'll fulfill something, or at least some way of fulfilling leisure needs. Let's not forget we also need to get like a makeshift post, just temporarily. I need to produce some packs of crops. It's not a very efficient method of producing packs of crops, but we can take some of the vegetables and the grain we're making and just fulfill this order real quick. Burn down some of that impatience. So remember, high impatience works to my advantage right now. It lowers hostility and I get extra resolve from it. So it's still pretty good. We should be able to deal with this in about 2 minutes. The lizards are feeling a little on the scared side, so maybe we temporarily pull them off of the last gathering job and just keep in the positive temporarily. Good news is, because we timed this the way we did, we should be able to deal with the drainage mole before the end of the clearance section, so this hostility is going to drop down by a lot more in a bit, and all these extra resources are going to be so darn helpful for me. And I really needed more food. That's honestly the big bottleneck for me right now, as far as upgrading the Smoldering City. It would be nice to play on the Viceroy difficulty and start getting a bit more value at a higher difficulty. Very tempting. Hey, it's Sother. This guy often has good stuff. Extra harpies. Meh. Storm duration reduction is actually nice. I can pick this up. And then recipes that use metal or ore, or gain some amber every time a villager leaves. Meh. I mean, it's okay, but I shouldn't need it. Shorter storms are nice, for sure. We do need religion fulfilled. If I bought a bunch of incense, I would be able to fulfill my needs once I get the right leisure building. How much is this going to cost me if I wanted to just buy, like, all 60? Pretty much everything I've got. Still, it's admittedly very tempting, because then I don't have to worry about producing it at all. I would just need to get a holy temple, a monastery, or a clan hall. Any of those 4 buildings. We don't even have to have it actively fulfilled, like, for a certain amount of time, so I don't need more than 60. I just need it to be filled 60 times, and 60 incense would do that. Okay, this eliminates the need for a specific production chain, so I'm good with that. I'm going to sell off a bit of extra provisions since we're getting a bunch of those. I'm going to sell off the copper ore. We don't do anything with that. I could sell off a bit of sea marrow. We have plenty of fuel, so I'm okay with doing that to a degree. And then I'll spend a little bit of amber. I want to save 18, though, because I think this is worth buying. So what else can I sell that's relatively easy? How about just a bit of extra sea marrow? Boom. All right, so we'll buy all the incense, and I'm going to have shorter storms. That just makes my life a lot easier, I think. All right, resolve goes down, but we're actually looking pretty good at hostility level 2. Everything is in a solid position. I don't even have access to any refined foods yet. I need to get some of that. Fulfill brawling needs. Good lord. I cannot possibly do all 3 of these leisure needs, right? There's just no way. Fulfill jerky and biscuits. I want to do that anyway. That would get me a market, which actually is another method of leisure. All right. I definitely can make training gear. We'll pick this one up, but I don't like it. We're doing too much. There's no way I'm going to fulfill all of these. It's just not happening. Fulfill more of these events. Gain pottery per minute. Well, I like that. We're not doing this one for sure, so I guess we could try to cut into more glades. We're going to get a lot of hostility, though, and we're doing terribly at fulfilling the queen's demands. Like, truly abysmal, but okay. Another cornerstone. Frequent caravans? No. Protected trade? No. Cheap construction? Fewer charges is not great. Cheaper buildings is nice, I guess, but meh. That said, we've also discovered a lot of nodes. How many more do I really need here? I guess it's okay. Protected trade. Every time we sell a bunch of amber worth of stuff. I mean, that's also not bad, to be honest. Even with a non-trade build, this is still pretty solid. We can sell things worth amber for sure. I mean, we've already done it several times. I'm gonna go with protected trade. Having a method of enabling hostility reduction is still good. It doesn't synergize greatly with what I want, but it's still good. We get some extra reputation. Artisan, alchemist hut, no. Brickyard, provisioner, no. I really need a way of getting some food, to be honest. We're gonna reroll. Temple? Okay, hang on, that's something. Cellar we're already gonna get. Cooperage, no. Plantation, Would have loved that berry production, but a temple at the very least lets me do something. We fulfill the religion need. Could also fulfill education, but yeah. This is okay. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it's okay. Let's do temple. We'll go ahead and pick that sucker up. Remember, it also synergizes beautifully with our Harmony Spirit altar. So the more of these I get, strictly speaking, the better off I'm going to be. Since I'm also really low on reputation and we need to go faster, let's also just go ahead and spend some of my excess tools. I've got 32 of them. We'll crack into this, get a little bit more reputation. This is like a really slow game. We're at year 6, and I still have nowhere near enough reputation. Remember how I said I need to be able to go faster? This is where I seem to struggle, guys. Seriously, I'm not very good at playing this game as fast as I apparently need to in order to be a top-tier player. Okay, we've cracked into another glade. We find one of these abandoned vaults. Yeah, these things are always scary, but I do need to get some ancient tablets, so this fulfills that. Plus, it's another one of these events, and gain incense for root production. Not outstanding, since I don't really focus on roots, but, I mean, we can go ahead and deal with this, sure. That's going to reduce my resolve by a lot for a while, though, so it's not outstanding. Another reputation. What do we get? Smokehouse. Jerky. Yes, actually. Oh, and the tavern. Never mind. Hang on. Pick that up. The jerky would have been great, but the tavern is something I needed, and if I can start producing a load of ale, then we are going to fulfill that need, which is kind of huge. Let's also start fulfilling people's religion need, if I can get 3 people here for the extra good sacrifice bonus. I don't strictly need that, so we'll send 2 for now. Just start fulfilling the religion. It's going to take a little while, but eventually this is going to be good for me. I'm going to finish getting some of the last upgrades we need over here at our hub, so now it's been built up, and we are at the maximum level of a district, which gets another 10% global production chance. So, awesome. We are at max level over here. This is looking very, very strong. Okay, we have the tavern. I'm going to hold off. Actually, now we have the ale I need. Perfect. Let's turn this in. Gets me even better ale production. Plus, we get some of it back, which is good, I guess. If we assign enough people over here, we can get the Gleeman's Tails, which is another positive to resolve. And if I then were to favor the Harpies, we can get above the 18 value I need. We'll get the Harpy population figured out. This is where everything starts to come together, finally. Reputation bonus, Guildhouse. I mean, we can get even more of these things, I guess, yeah? Totally possible to get even more leisure. There's 3 of them right there. That said, I think none of these are what I really need right now. Let's do a reroll. I want something that enables a good food production. None of these help me either. So let's do another. Well, I guess technically speaking, the clan hall would fulfill needs for what? Brawling? Yeah. All right, clan hall. I want to get better food, but you know, if the purpose of getting the extra food, wow, this is huge. If the purpose of getting the extra food is to get resolve, and this is another way of getting resolve, then why not? Let's just do this. There's my packs of crops. Let's go ahead and turn that in. We're now better at farming, which works great for me. We need to get rid of this makeshift post. It is no longer relevant. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, and once the storm has passed, we can actually make these harpies happy. I had to do that earlier, but failed. All right, let's try that again. Get it back up to 18, please, and thank you. Cornerstone, pigments for insects, blah, 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 blah. None of these are good. Okay, well, on the off chance someday I am able to get some biscuit production, could this be good? Not really. No, none of these are actually any good to me. None at all. We'll get the dye extractor. Maybe I find a way to get some insects or something. I don't know. There's the clan hall. So now we can start fulfilling needs for brawling, which I guess I will start to do. But it does mean I need to start producing training gear. Now, remind me, what produces some training gear? We had something. There it is. The Weaver can produce some. That'll work, I suppose. Oh, no, it won't. Never mind. We don't have the equipment we need. Okay. Well, maybe a trader comes by and we can buy some. I don't know. See, there's one right there. And look who has some training gear. Perfect. That's all I needed. Also, we can get extra lizards, or we can get a scribe, or blah, blah, blah. No, that's not going to be helpful. All right, training gear it is. I need at least like 20, preferably more to be safe, because it wants you to have 20 and fulfill needs. So I'm thinking like 40 is probably the safer way to go. I don't want to give him my ancient tablets because we need those. I can give up the packs of crops. They're worthless to me as is. Provisions we're not doing a whole lot with, so we can sell off some of those. I can sell some excess coats. They're worth at least a tiny bit. And how about a little bit of extra marrow? There we go. That works. I'll even buy some cosmetics just to enable the bathhouse if we feel like that's something that would be beneficial. All right. Leisure goods. I cannot believe that once again I have no method of really using my flour. just don't like relying on single builds, man. It doesn't work out for me. Whatever. Another reputation. Cosmetics, crystallized dew, vegetables, grain, insects. Well, nope, none of these are helpful for what I guess biscuits. Yeah, we could do this. We did say we wanted food. Fine, fine. It's not great, but at least it lets me get some cosmetics, and it lets me get some of those biscuits. Okay, we have favored our harpies long enough. This gets me access to that alchemist's hut, which, I mean, I didn't really need the cosmetic production, but now we can get wine and crystallized dew as well. So that's going to be done, too. We'll place you over, I guess, here is fine. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. If we can get basically our religion and our leisure and our brawling needs fulfilled, we're going to be in really, really, really good shape. How are we already out of training gear? How? How is this possible? I don't like any of these. I guess the training gear is okay from the Tinkerer. We only have 1-star production. It's not huge. Let's do a reroll. There's the cellar again. Smokehouse. We did say we wanted that. This works. The herbalist camp's okay too, but we'll pick up a smokehouse. This is going to let me make my meat go a lot further. And with a lot more meat, we can start getting a lot of extra happiness. But we're kind of happy across the board. That's 3 sets of resolve right now. And that's with me doing the lighter treatment. We can actually pull back on that. And we're starting to produce 1.44 reputation per minute. That is huge. Oh, there's a threat over here, an open vault. I didn't even know that was going to be there. I didn't mean to open this up. Okay, hang on. Coal, pottery, every time you open a glade, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think we just go for the win here. Let's go for some reputation. And this is going to sink my resolve by a lot, but it's still not enough. Wow, really? Even with this active, we're this happy? Oh, heck yes, dude. I mean, the beavers aren't, you know, happy enough anymore, but like, yeah, that's a lot of resolve. Woo! Oh, and now we get a bakery. Oh, good. Too little, too late, my friends. Too little, too late. Let's go ahead and start getting some cleanliness and stuff. We'll start doing stuff at the bathhouse. That's all great. We can get one more person over here, which is going to get me even more production from camps. Yeah, there's nothing else I need to worry about. Let's just sit back and let us win at this point. Yeah, that resolve is stacking up even higher now that we have access to cleanliness. And yet, reputation has dropped down to 0.35. The beavers are just barely not happy enough. We're just waiting on this, and we'll start producing like over 1 reputation per minute again. It's amazing we're so far over the requirement for the harpies, and that's only 0.34? Ouch, dude. But yeah, literally, once this event is gone in 1 minute and 20 seconds, resolve is going to just jump way back up. Alternatively, we can turn in for religion here, which gets me global resolve again, I think. And then that's it. Boom. Done. All right, that was easy. We actually completed that by year 7. That's better than it has been in the past. We've also reached level 11, so we have access to the tinctuary, the furnace, the butcher, which gets skewers and jerky and oil. Ooh, I'm gonna like that one. Moldy grain seeds, a new cornerstone. Gain mushrooms for grain. Gain meat and grain for every completed dangerous event. And then gain wealth, global resolve, for every 2 caches opened. All of those are actually pretty solid. Okay, and 80 food stockpiles, 20 artifacts, 14 machinery. Not half bad. Now I see that we have access to a treasure chest. I can get 1 more city done, I think, before the storm comes through. So do something like this in the marshlands, get 70 food plus who knows what we get here, but I'll bet you it's gonna be amazing. Could also instead go to the coral forest, so both of those are going to be options. Having that 1 extra range on your cities is really helpful, honestly. Lets you see a lot more, lets you get more benefits. It's just good across the board. What is this? Unable to use the pause function, but get extra artifacts and machinery over here. Oh, that's kind of fun and exciting, I suppose. The Fishman Ritual Site, okay. And the Flooded Mines. Hostility doesn't grow with every year, but you gain more hostility points per villager. That seems pretty awful, if I'm going to be honest. All right, let me go upgrade the city. I think I'll finally pick up that embarkation point because it gives me some options. We're doing really well on things like artifacts. That has not been an issue. Only 44 food remaining means I still can only get 1 more upgrade here. Discount on stuff plus extra traders. Good for trade builds, for sure. Or I could save my food and go for other stuff. I think enabling a little bit of better trade is not a bad idea. Also, just some discounts on Amber. But yeah, this is the thing that's killing me. We really need to start playing on Viceroy difficulty now, so we can get even more reward in our food. That's the fastest way for us to start leveling up. All right, well, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, I would ask you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.